Hello and welcome. My name is Bree, and today I'm going to be allowing for a channeled message around the topic of NDEs. It feels like whatever this is going to be today has been a long time coming. If this is a topic that interests you, I do have several other videos on this channel about this topic, and it feels as though today is the day that I am ready to bring this message through. So I'm simply going to set some intentions that whatever is in our highest and best good to receive today, we will receive, each of us individually, uniquely. And I'm also intending that this deepen us into our inner being, that this help us understand the beauty of life a bit more. And I will be taking in the message when you do. So just to give you a little bit of understanding around what I experience in these channelings is I am witnessing them with you. And for some of you that's going to make sense, for some of you that's going to sound a little out there, and for those of you that it does sound out there, maybe in this transmission you're going to feel what I'm saying a little more in this little intro before I let the channel message come through. So I'm just going to state some questions that I have and see, I don't know if they'll cover them, but I'd like to understand why this even happens. And why. I also have some questions around why people are, I've had lots of young people in my life pass. And to me, it always felt like before their time. But I know that in the divine order, everything has this beauty to it, this divinity to it. So I'm just hoping to get some more clarity there. It's ready. Okay, so I'm just going to have my eyes closed during this. If you want to do the same, you can. It doesn't feel like you need to be in a meditative state or anything. Yeah, so, as always, no driving or operating machinery. That's just to be safe. You don't want to be driving and then you have some big aha and you can't process it because you're driving. Okay, all right. I'll see you soon. Welcome. We are the Ascended Masters, the Christed Light, Ascended Masters. We're going to take your questions in reverse, Bree. For those that are what you called taken too soon, what we would like to inform you of is that any soul that is crossing over at a young human age will not feel any pain. There is a divine design to everything that consists of life, and one of the most beautiful of these designs is free will and sovereignty. And we do not want you to confuse this as in every soul that crosses over at a young age is choosing this. This is not the case. The soul is meant to be in charge of your human life, and yet many who are living on the human earth plane are not having their behavior directed by their soul. Their behavior is directed by their mental programming. And for those individuals, it will become increasingly more difficult to withstand what is going to occur on planet Earth. You see, this is a spiritual experience, and those that want to experience life only from the expected and the known and the predictable it will simply become impossible to do this in the coming years. Those of you that are still operating in this faculty, pay attention to when your daily routines are being steered by the mind versus the soul. The mind is meant to come along and be a companion to the soul. But if the mind neglects to recognize the soul in its shaping, the soul will not be able to deliver messages. And if this goes on for too long, the energetic field becomes weaker, meaning it becomes easier for those individuals to be disconnected from the earth plane. And when it comes to NDEs, there was a heightened period on your planet where these occurred, and this was from 2012 to 2020. This 18 I'm just dropping out of the channel very briefly to explain what they showed me. Okay, so they showed me a period from 2012 to 2020. And what they're showing me is that it's an 8-year period, but it feels that, and I'll have them correct this when I jump back in, but if it's wrong. But it feels that between that 8-year period, we experienced 18 years worth of ascension as a collective. Interesting, is that accurate? Yes. Okay. So, and part of this had to do with NDEs. I'm going to drop back in now. I just had to, they were showing me a lot. Okay. During 2012 to 2020, any light workers with the mission to assist in this planet's ascension. Any of these beings that crossed over because of a lack of grounding, this did include Bree, these souls were given the option, along with their specific council of light, to return and complete their mission with an awakened knowing and remembrance of their mission. Many of these souls would have had a moment like Bree, where they did not know they could come back and complete what they set out to. They had doubt, we will call it, on the other side. And for those individuals, when their heart answered yes, we in the councils of light transmuted their doubt so that they could complete what they were returning to the earth plane to complete. This was necessary for Bree, and this was necessary for many during this time period in Earth's history. Now we hear many of you, what about 2020 to now, to 2024? And what we will share there is that the collective veils created by the human society on planet Earth were very heavy from 2020 to 2024, as in there were many souls resisting their awakening and therefore trying to convince themselves not to awaken and to stay in the sleep state. Because of this, it made it more difficult for souls crossing over to have the option to return. This isn't to say there were none in that time period. It is simply to say it would have been more difficult. We're also scanning those in war zones, those in situations that feel inescapable. We encourage you to check to see if this is within your soul contract or if it is something that you are to transcend and transform. For some souls will be in the physical location that they deem to be unsafe and unfortunate. However, many of these individuals are meant to shift this. Is this you? And for those of you that have had an NDE, what we would like to share is that your original natal chart is going to be your guidepost, yes. However, the natal chart that you came back in through will shape you also. And we encourage you to do what Bree is in the process of doing, which is understanding these blueprints that she carries and understanding the areas with which she is now embodying a new template, we will call it. And what we would like to share with those of you who resonate with this aspect of the message is that when you look at this new natal chart, we ask you to look at the areas with which have stayed fixed or the same to your original natal chart, and the areas with which have been drastically changed. Bree is giving us permission to share one area with which she has drastically changed is her true node, her north node. Shifting from Aries to Libra. This did change the way she leads, the way she directs her life, and it helped her to have this understanding of these archetypes and how she is now different than the way that she was. And we also encourage all of you to take everything you consume in through media, through food, through those around you. Take this in through your filter of truth. Allow your filter of truth to naturally transmute information and energy coming into your field that is not of resonance or assistance to you in your mission. For those of you that would like this, we will install a truth filter now that will make it easier for you to do this, so that you no longer get stuck on the chaotic information that does not resonate with your field. We are placing filters around your third eye, your ears, and your crown and throat. The reason that we are incorporating all of these chakras is because if you have an inflow of information that is not resonant, it can, in some cases, begin to then emit through your throat chakra, as in you are recycling information that you have not scanned against your heart or your truth filter. We are complete in this area, and we now ask those of you that are opening your channels to begin the practice of channeling from your spirit guides each day. You may intend to only bring through messages of unconditional love to ensure you do not have any distortion. And we also encourage you to make sure that you are feeling the energy and flow within your heart before you transmit this sort of energy. For many of you are conceiving that it is only your third eye. No. And in fact, many of you will be channeling without your clairvoyance. If you choose it, it will come online, but you do not need it to channel divine energy. Okay. Cool. That was interesting. Alright, that was not what I was expecting. They really kept me in this one more, which was interesting. Typically, it's a lot more I'll explain what I experienced just in case it helps you land this message. But typically when I'm channeling from the high councils of light, I feel myself a little bit more sort of like in this, like the stands in the background, sort of watching, and I don't have any, I'm not involved in the message. But this time around, it sort of felt like, it's going to sound weird, but it sort of felt like we were all standing together, and I was with the Council of Light, and I was able to also be more present. It was different than normal, so I'm just sharing that with you because I'm not here to channel messages that I want you to stay glued to or that I want you to believe. I'm showing up in surrender. So I'm showing up to what is in the highest and best good, and I truly, truly want to remind all of you again and again and again, take what resonates, leave what does not. I mean that. I do not need you to believe anything in specific. I simply ask that you show up to these messages with an open mind, an open heart, and an openness to get curious and explore and have no need for the message to be a certain way. Yeah, the guides are still with me, and it feels like they want you to understand that your channeling gift will evolve the more you let go. And if surrender isn't something you are privy to or you've been doing for a long time, you are basically going to be proving to yourself that this is possible. It's not going to have to do with anyone else. And eventually it will be proved to you. And you'll be able to do this with ease. And it's not so that you can make more money or find your soulmate. I just encourage you, if you are exploring channeling, allow it to be for the betterment of all. That might mean you don't have as much money for a little while like I did. That might mean you need to make some 3D sacrifices, as in, I'll just be vulnerable. For me, it was, okay, I'm not going to watch TV anymore. And that created time, which I didn't even know really was available. But you are basically going to be ascending through this process. And you may, like me, find that after a while of channeling, there's less of a gap. And that's how it felt for me today. So the channeled messages are going to start to become integrated within you. And you're going to be actually living from truth, living from love. And that force and that wanting to fit in and that whatever was kind of hindering this to be is going to start to peel away, transmute, and alchemize. So have grace with yourself as you continue to greet new versions of you each and every single day with love and curiosity. Do let me know what you received from this in the comments. I would love to hear more from all of you. This is a co-creation. So every time you tune in, even if you're tuning into this in 10 years, I'm feeling you. We are feeling you. And I love you all so very, very much. See you in the next one. Don't forget to hydrate and ground, especially if this really shifted some things within you to get you to more of you. Namaste.